Why you overthink everything. Part 1. The mind that never stops. Your mind doesn't go quiet, even when everything else does. At night, when the world slows down, your thoughts speed up. You replay conversations. You question decisions. You imagine outcomes that haven't happened. And you wonder, why can't I just stop thinking? Overthinking doesn't feel like a problem at first. It feels like intelligence, awareness, preparation, being careful. You tell yourself, you're just trying to get things right. But slowly, something changes. Thinking stops helping and starts hurting. You don't overthink because you're weak. You overthink because your mind is trying to protect you from mistakes, from embarrassment, from regret, from pain. But protection, when overused, becomes a prison. Overthinking doesn't scream. It whispers, "What if you're wrong? What if this goes badly? What if you miss something?" So you pause, you hesitate, you delay, you think more. Instead of acting, you analyze more. Instead of deciding. And slowly, life starts happening. Around you. Not with you. You wake up tired. Not because you didn't sleep, but because your mind never rested. Even in bed, your thoughts stayed awake. Overthinking is exhausting because it never reaches a conclusion. It just circles. The same thoughts, the same doubts, the same questions. Again, and again, and again. You think about what you should have said, what you should have done differently, what might happen next time. And even when nothing is wrong right now, your mind searches for problems. This audiobook is not here to silence your mind. That never works. It's here to help you understand why your mind does this and how to stop being controlled by it. Because overthinking is not who you are. It's something you learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. Think about the last decision you made. A small one. You probably replayed it, questioned it, wondered if there was a better option, even after it was done. That's overthinking. Overthinking doesn't live in the future. It lives in uncertainty. The moment something feels unclear, your mind fills the gap with noise. You don't trust silence. So your mind creates sound, thoughts, scenarios, warnings. Overthinking is your mind saying, "Don't move yet. It might not be safe." So you wait, and wait, and wait. But clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from moving. And that's where the problem begins. The more you think, the harder it feels to act. The harder it feels to act. The more you think, a loop, quiet, relentless, you start doubting yourself. Not because you lack ability, but because you've trained your mind to question everything, even your instincts. Overthinkers are often deeply capable people, sensitive, aware, detail-oriented, but that same awareness, without direction, turns inward and becomes self-doubt. You don't trust your first thought, so you look for a better one, then another, until the moment passes. Opportunities don't announce. When they leave, they just fade. And later you wonder, why didn't I act sooner? Overthinking keeps you busy, but it keeps you stuck. This is where it begins. Not by stopping thoughts, but by seeing them clearly, understanding why they exist, and learning when not to listen. Your mind doesn't need more control. It needs clarity. Stay here. Slow down. This is not about fixing you. Nothing is broken. This is about freeing you from a habit that feels like safety, but steals your peace. Part 2. Why your mind always expects the worst. Your mind is always scanning. Even when nothing is happening, it looks for signs. patterns, warnings, a tone in someone's voice, a pause in a message, a delay in a reply, and suddenly, your thoughts start racing. What did I do wrong? What if something bad is coming? What if I mess this up? Your mind doesn't do this to hurt you. It does this to protect you. At some point in your life, being prepared mattered. Maybe you were criticized. Maybe you were embarrassed. Maybe something went wrong. When you least expected it, your mind learned a rule. Stay alert. Don't get comfortable. So now, it expects problems before they arrive. Expecting the worst feels responsible. It feels like prevention. If I imagine everything that could go wrong, I won't be surprised. But constant anticipation creates constant tension. Your body stays alert. Your thoughts stay active. And peace never fully arrives. Overthinking is often fear, wearing the mask of logic. You tell yourself, you're just being realistic. But realism doesn't require panic. Preparation doesn't require exhaustion. Your mind jumps ahead. It skips the present and lives in imagined futures. Futures where things fall apart, where you fail, where you regret. These futures feel real because your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It reacts the same way. So even when you're safe, your body doesn't relax. Even when things are fine, your thoughts say, be careful. This is why overthinking feels endless. Because fear doesn't have a finish line. There's always another possibility, another scenario, another what if. You don't overthink because you lack confidence. You overthink because you don't trust stability. When things feel calm, your mind asks, how long will this last? Think about how you react to good moments. Do you enjoy them fully? Or does a part of you wait for them to end? That waiting is overthinking. Your mind learned that disappointment hurts, so it tries to soften the blow by expecting it early, but living in constant expectation of pain is its own kind of pain. There is a difference between awareness and anticipation. Awareness is present. Anticipation is anxious. One keeps you grounded, the other keeps you trapped. Overthinking pulls you away from what's actually happening. You miss conversations because you're analyzing them. You miss moments because you're predicting their outcome. You miss life because you're rehearsing survival. Your mind believes it's doing something useful, but most of the time, it's repeating old fears in new situations. Fear doesn't update itself automatically. It needs proof, and proof only comes when you let things happen without controlling them first. The truth is, most of what you worry about never happens, and most of what does happen, you handle better than you imagined. But overthinking never lets you see that, because it doesn't wait for reality. It reacts to imagination. You don't need to stop your mind from expecting the worst. You just need to stop believing everything it tells you. The thought, something will go wrong, is not a prediction. It's a habit formed when safety mattered more than peace. Right now, you don't need constant protection. You need trust. Trust in your ability to respond when needed. Trust that you don't have to live 5 steps ahead of your life. You don't need to win every imagined battle. You just need to show up for the real one. Let the future be uncertain. You don't have to solve it tonight. You're allowed to rest without preparing for disaster. This is the beginning of change, not by forcing calm, but by noticing fear without obeying it. Part 3. Why simple decisions feel impossible. There was a time when decisions felt lighter. You chose. You moved. You adjusted if needed. Now, even small decisions feel heavy. What to say, what to choose, what to start. You pause longer than necessary. Not because the choice is difficult, because the weight behind it is. Overthinking turns decisions into judgments, not just about the outcome, about you. What if I choose wrong? What does this say about me? What if this proves I'm not capable? So the decision becomes personal, and personal decisions feel dangerous. You don't just see options, you see consequences. You imagine regret, you imagine embarrassment, you imagine failure. Your mind expands a simple choice into a life-defining moment. So you hesitate. Overthinking confuses importance with permanence. It tells you, this choice will decide everything. Most choices don't. They just decide the next step. But your mind wants certainty, and certainty doesn't exist. So you keep thinking, comparing, analyzing, replaying, waiting for a feeling that says, yes, this is safe. That feeling rarely comes. So you delay. You tell yourself, you're being careful. But careful turns into stuck. And stuck slowly becomes frustration. Indecision is exhausting. Not because you didn't choose, but because you kept choosing in your head, again and again, without moving. Overthinking makes you believe there is a perfect option, one that guarantees peace, one that avoids regret. But perfection is an illusion. Every option includes uncertainty. The difference between people who move forward and people who stay stuck is not confidence. It's tolerance for uncertainty. Overthinkers want reassurance before they act, but reassurance comes after action, through experience, through adjustment, through learning. Think about how many decisions you postponed, not because you didn't care, but because you cared too much. You wanted to get it right, so you waited. And while you waited, time moved. Overthinking feels like responsibility. But sometimes, it's fear pretending to be wisdom. You don't need to feel ready to decide. You need to feel willing to respond. Respond if it works. Respond if it doesn't. Decisions don't define you. How you respond to them does. You don't lose clarity by choosing. You gain it. Clarity is built in motion, not in thought. Overthinking tells you, wait until you're sure. Life answers, you'll be sure after you try. Small decisions don't need big thinking. They need movement. When you choose, you free your mind. When you delay, you trap it. Let the decision be imperfect. Let the path adjust. You don't need control. You need trust. Trust that you can handle what comes next. Trust that you don't have to predict every outcome. The moment you decide, something loosens. Not because everything is solved, but because the loop breaks. That's how overthinking loses power. Not by thinking less, by deciding more. Part 4. Why your mind keeps going back to the past. Your mind doesn't just think forward. It travels backward. Again and again. To moments that are already over. Conversations that ended. Decisions that were made. Words you wish you had chosen differently. You replay scenes as if they're still open. You analyze tone. You analyze timing. You analyze your own reactions. What if I said the wrong thing? What if they misunderstood me? What if I ruined something? The past becomes a puzzle you keep trying to solve. Overthinking doesn't revisit the past to learn. It revisits the past to search for control. Control that no longer exists. Your mind believes that if it can understand everything perfectly, it can prevent pain from happening again. So it replays. Not once. Endlessly. The problem is, the past doesn't change, but your emotional reaction to it does. Each replay adds judgment. Each replay adds doubt. What was once a moment becomes a verdict about you. You stop remembering events as they happened. You remember them through fear, through self-criticism, through imagined outcomes that never actually occurred. Your mind asks questions that have no answers. What if I was wrong? What if they think less of me now? What if this defines me? These questions don't lead to growth. They lead to rumination. Rumination feels productive. It feels like reflection, but reflection moves forward. Rumination goes in circles. Reflection asks, what can I learn? Rumination asks, what's wrong with me? Overthinking turns memory into self-punishment. You relive moments, not to heal them, but to relive the discomfort. The past becomes heavy when it's carried without compassion. You judge your past self with your present awareness. That's not fair. You didn't know then what you know now. Your mind forgets this. It expects past you to have had present you's clarity. So it criticizes again and again. Part 5. Why overthinking leaves you emotionally exhausted. You wake up tired. Not the kind of tired sleep can fix. A deeper tiredness. A mental heaviness that follows you through the day. You haven't done much yet, but your mind already has. It has replayed conversations, predicted outcomes, prepared defenses before the day even started. Your mind worked overtime. Overthinking is exhausting because it never rests. It doesn't clock out. It doesn't slow down. It stays alert. Even when nothing demands attention, your thoughts jump from one thing to another. You think about what you need to do, then about what could go wrong, then about something you said yesterday, then about something that might happen tomorrow. Your mind never stays in one place, and moving constantly, without direction, drains energy. Emotional exhaustion doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from processing too much, feeling too much, anticipating too much. Overthinking keeps your nervous system in a constant state of alert, not panic, just tension, a low-level anxiety that never fully leaves. Your body feels it. Tight shoulders, shallow breathing, restless sleep. Your body is tired because your mind keeps sending signals. Be ready. Even when you relax, your mind doesn't. You sit still, but inside, you're restless. You scroll. You distract yourself. You look for something to quiet the noise. But the noise isn't outside. Emotional exhaustion often looks like numbness. You stop feeling excited. You stop feeling motivated. Not because you don't care, but because caring has become tiring. Overthinking drains emotion, the same way constant noise drains focus. Slowly, relentlessly, you might tell yourself you're just sensitive, or that you need to be stronger. But sensitivity isn't the problem. Unfiltered thinking is. You feel everything, but process nothing, because overthinking doesn't resolve emotions, it replays them. Instead of feeling sadness and letting it pass, you analyze it, judge it, try to fix it, and that keeps it alive longer. The same with fear, the same with frustration, the same with disappointment. Overthinking stretches emotions beyond their natural lifespan. Your mind doesn't allow feelings to move through you. It traps them in loops. That's why you feel emotionally drained, even on calm days, even when nothing bad happens. Rest doesn't help if your mind never slows. Sleep doesn't restore What constant thinking takes. Emotional energy returns. When the mind feels safe enough to be quiet, not controlled. Quiet. You don't need to stop thinking. You need to stop monitoring yourself constantly. Notice how often you check in with your thoughts. Am I okay? Did that sound wrong? What if this goes badly? Each check costs energy. You don't need to watch your mind every second. You don't need to manage every emotion. Some thoughts don't need attention. Some feelings don't need analysis. Emotions are meant to move. Thinking freezes them. When you allow emotions to exist without commentary, they soften. They pass. Emotional rest begins when you stop trying to fix every feeling. You're not emotionally weak. You're mentally overworked. And the moment you realize this, something shifts. You stop blaming yourself for being tired and start understanding why you are. Overthinking doesn't mean you care too much. It means you don't know when to stop carrying things. You're allowed to put thoughts down. You're allowed to rest without solving everything. Silence doesn't mean neglect. Sometimes it means recovery. Let your mind pause. Not forever, just long enough to breathe. That's how emotional energy returns. Not through effort, through release. Part 6. Why overthinking makes you afraid to take action. You don't lack ideas. You don't lack ability. What you lack is movement. Not because you don't want to act, but because thinking stands in the way. Before you take a step, your mind steps in first. It asks questions, raises doubts, imagines consequences. What if this doesn't work? What if I regret this? What if I make things worse? So you pause. Overthinking turns action into a risk assessment. Every move feels dangerous, not physically. Emotionally, you imagine failure before you imagine effort. You imagine judgment before you imagine progress. So action feels heavy, even simple action. Fear doesn't stop action directly. Thinking does. Because thinking gives fear 1,000 reasons. You tell yourself you're waiting for clarity, but clarity doesn't arrive in stillness. It arrives in motion. Overthinking convinces you that hesitation is wisdom, that waiting is maturity. But sometimes, waiting is just fear, asking for more time. You don't trust your first instinct, so you look for certainty. And when certainty doesn't come, you don't move. Action feels final when you overthink, as if every step locks you into a future. But most actions are adjustable. They don't trap you. They teach you. Overthinking makes mistakes feel permanent, so you avoid making any. But avoiding mistakes also avoids growth. The irony is this: action reduces fear. Thinking increases it. When you act, your mind gets feedback. Real feedback. Not imagined scenarios. And real feedback calms the mind, but when you don't act, the mind has nothing real to work with. So it creates stories. Worst-case stories. You don't need confidence to act. Confidence comes after action. Through experience. Through learning. Through realizing you survived. Overthinking asks, what if I fail? Action answers, then I'll adjust. You don't need to eliminate fear before moving. You need to move despite fear. Small action breaks the loop. One step, one decision, one attempt. Action doesn't silence thoughts completely, but it changes their tone from speculation to response. Overthinking keeps you safe. Action keeps you alive. You don't overcome overthinking by waiting for the right moment. You overcome it by creating momentum. Momentum doesn't come from big moves. It comes from small, imperfect ones. Take the step. Your mind keeps postponing, not because you're sure, but because you're ready to respond. That's how fear loses power, not by disappearing, but by being proven unnecessary. Part 7. How to calm an overactive mind without forcing silence. Your mind doesn't need to be silenced. It needs to be understood. Trying to force quiet only makes thoughts louder. The more you tell your mind to stop, the more it resists, because your mind thinks it's protecting you. An overactive mind is not a broken mind. It's an alert mind that never learned when to rest. Calm doesn't come from control. It comes from permission. Permission to let thoughts pass without engaging them. You don't have to chase every thought. You don't have to answer every question your mind asks. Some thoughts are noise, not messages. Notice this. A thought appears. You react to it. Then another thought appears about the first one. That second thought is where overthinking begins. You can't stop the first thought, but you can choose not to follow the second. Calming the mind is not about emptiness. It's about distance, creating space between you and your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that notices them. That awareness is already calm. Instead of fighting thoughts, try observing them like clouds passing. They move, whether you engage or not. The mind settles when it feels seen, not judged, not controlled. Seen. Slowing down your body helps slow down your thoughts. Gentle breathing, relaxed posture, unrushed movement. The body leads. The mind follows. Overthinking speeds up when your body feels unsafe, even subtly. Calm the body, and the mind listens. You don't need to analyze every feeling. Some feelings just need space. When a thought appears, try this. Note it and let it pass. No argument, no conclusion. Your mind doesn't need answers. It needs reassurance. Reassurance that you're here, that you're safe, that nothing needs to be solved right now. Silence doesn't have to be forced. It emerges when urgency fades. Overthinking fades when you stop treating every thought like an emergency. Moments of calm will come and go. That's okay. Calm is not permanent. Presence is. You don't need to fix your mind. You need to trust it less. And trust yourself more. Trust that you can respond when needed. Trust that you don't have to live inside your thoughts. The mind quiets when it knows you're not lost without it. You are allowed to rest in uncertainty, to pause without solving, to exist without explanation. This is how calm returns. Not suddenly, gradually, naturally. And when calm appears, don't cling to it. Just notice it. That's enough. Final closing, letting the mind rest. You've listened this far. That already tells you something. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not behind. You're aware. And awareness is where change begins. Overthinking was never your enemy. It was a habit formed when being careful felt necessary, when mistakes felt costly, when silence felt safer than risk, when control felt like protection. Your mind learned to stay alert, and it stayed that way for a long time. But habits don't define you. They explain you, and anything that can be explained can be softened. You don't need to eliminate thoughts. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to be calm all the time. You just need to stop believing Every thought